This book critique contains 5 books that are a range of genres, including 2 picture books, a biography, an informational text, and a folklore book. The feature text for this book critique is The Song and Dance Man. It is at a 3rd grade reading level and is a picture book that won the Caldecott Medal. I chose this book because of the strong lesson in family and also because the illustrations add great support to the text. The book is about a grandfather who used to dance when he was younger. His grandchildren come and visit him often, and one day he decides to show them some of his old dance moves. He opens an old chest and pulls out his old dance shoes and some old hats for his grandchildren. Then he begins to dance. The grandfather and grandchildren bond over this experience and the relationship grows. I chose to do a reading and language arts lesson for this book critique. In the reading lesson, students will recount the story and identify the theme. Then they will explain how the theme is conveyed throughout the story. The teacher will participate in a read aloud with her class. She advises the class to try to identify the central theme of the text. After the read aloud is over, the teacher and students discuss the theme of the story and identify it as the importance of family. The students are given the opportunity to create their own interactive graphic organizers on the school iPads using an app called Poplet. Here they will create a graphic organizer with the theme as the central idea and the supporting details as their different branches. When everyone is finished, the students will be able to share their Poplet with the other 3rd grade classroom who is also reading the same story. I've created my own Poplet as a model for my students. Family importance is the central theme of the Poplet, and there are 5 supporting details that support the main theme. These details are: grandchildren are spending quality time with their granddad. The grandchildren find out that their granddad can dance. The grandfather puts on a show for his grandchildren. The grandchildren praise their grandfather for how well he can dance. The grandfather told his grandchildren that he wouldn't trade 1,000,000 days of dancing for any days he spent with his grandchildren. Next is the language arts writing lesson. After the read aloud, the teacher will remind the students about previous lessons where they talked about events and characters in the story. The teacher will begin to explain that the activity for today's lesson is that they will be participating in creating their own personal narrative. The students will create the personal narrative about a specific event in their life. They will establish the specific event or situation and introduce the characters in chronological order. Students will begin a draft of their narrative and then participate in a peer editing session. Once they finish peer editing, they will begin their final draft. The final draft will be placed in the students' portfolios and shown to the parents during open house. Next is the story of Rumpelstiltskin. This is the story about a miller who tells a king that his daughter can spin straw into gold. The king takes the daughter and asks her to spin gold for him and locked her in a room. Suddenly, a small man came into the room and said that he would spin the gold for her, but it came with a price. So the miller's daughter gave him her necklace. Then the king took the young girl into a larger room and she was told to spin more gold. Once again, the little man appeared and the young girl gave him her ring so that he would spin the straw into gold. Then this happened one more time. The girl had nothing else to give the little man, so she promised him her firstborn child. When the king came back, he found the room of gold and decided to marry the young girl. Then the young girl gave birth to a child, and the small little man came to take him. He told her, "If you can guess my name, you may keep your son." So after multiple attempts, the queen found out the small man's name was Rumpelstiltskin, and she was able to keep her baby. Next is the book called So You Want to Be President. This book is not updated with all the new presidents, but is an excellent source of information with cartoon-like illustrations. It gives information on each president and also gives a list of the presidents, their presidential terms, and information on the issues during their presidency in the back of the book. Grandfather's Journey is about the author's grandfather who left Japan and traveled to numerous places before returning back to Japan to marry. The author was born, and when he had a daughter, they moved to California to see what his grandfather was speaking of in his old stories. Once in a while, the author misses his old village, so he returns for a visit. The Wolf in the Snow is a picture book about a human and a wolf who are stuck in a snowstorm when they meet each other. The person comforts the baby wolf who had been separated from his pack. The human takes the wolf and searches for his mother. When they find him, the baby wolf leaves the kind person and goes with his mother. Now the human is lost in the middle of the snowy wilderness. The wolves surround the person and protect her. Finally, the father finds the young girl and brings her home to be reunited with the rest of their family.